We are just a few days out from Valentine's Day in 2021, and this timing of this episode couldn't have been better. Feelin Ourselves is the title, and Melorie Masacupan and myself dive into all the different things as far as senses, sensuality, being present and aware with our bodies, things that turn us on, being out of body and having that experience, what that's like, and all of the navigating through the journey within finding, feeling, and loving on ourselves. So this year, whether you have a partner, whether you have a Valentine, whether you've got yourself, or all of the above, sending love to you all. This is a very, very special episode to me because Melorie and I have been friends for over a decade, but we've really nurtured and developed this deep sense of friendship and trust within one another. One of the biggest things I've learned through our friendship development together is how much I enjoy connecting and using words and language to be heard and to be seen, and also to understand, to also see a different perspective. And what's really unique about Melorie and I coming together, even in the space of conscious, diligent fitness, is we both embody those traits, consciousness and diligence, in our own lives. But coming together, Melorie has brought to me a new sort of awakening with getting to know my internal self and bringing my physical fitness and my physical body in connection to my inner voice, my authentic and most wise being, and it's just been so beautiful. The best part is we have laughs along the way. We get silly. We can have a drink. We can work out. We can send each other little love notes, and that's just true love in a friendship right there. So I wanted to just thank her and send her lots of love, and send all of you lots of love as well. And may all of your relationships, whether that be within yourself or with others, be just as deep and just as genuine and just as fruitful as mine and Melorie's. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's really juicy. Listen through to the end. I feel like y'all will really get to know us after this one. And it's just one of more to come. So enjoy it. If you would like to follow our journey, find us on Instagram. It's Hello Melorie on Instagram, and Cheryl DeGuzzi on my personal one, cdfitness.chi, for the Conscious Diligent Fitness Instagram. We would love to connect with you. And please leave us a rating and subscribe if you found this resonant. Share it with a friend, share it with your partner. Give us some feedback. We're open to receiving just as much as we have given. A lot in this episode. So without further ado, enjoy it. And again, more to come, not just on future podcasts, a project I'm working on, and some juicy stuff that Melorie and I are birthing together in the near future. So stay tuned. All right, enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Welcome to the CD Fitness Podcast, where our mission is to change the way women see themselves in order to show up optimally in all aspects of their life. We aim to improve knowledge, self-love, and the embodiment of the unique self on this earth. We prioritize health and nutrition education as well as coaching to empower women to make healthier decisions to live longer, achieve freedom from diet culture, and create a lifestyle that they truly want to live while supporting one another as a collective whole of badass women. I am your host, Cheryl D. Guzman, and also the founder of CD Fitness, Conscious Diligent Fitness. Before we kind of talk about mostly our bodies and about us, I think, we can kind of arrive into it by either just taking a minute or two to breathe or move or stretch in a way to be able to feel that presence in our body. And I will say, for the record, for everyone who might be listening to this, and for you, Melorie, this is a practice I really learned and embraced from what you shared with me. So thank you for doing that and bringing this into my life.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's so sweet. Yeah, I'm so happy to move my body with you and get into the present moment. So,
Sounds
yeah.
good. Let's take 2 minutes and just kind of move. Like, I love stretching, but also like feeling into different body parts. I think I'm very aware of like my muscles and my joints, but like literally thinking about the awareness of different parts, like from my fingertips and through my palms, from like through my arms and shoulders, which can be sometimes so tense, just rolling them.
I'm breathing into my side body, like all fours, then make a curve C, like my right shoulder going towards my right glute, and then like stretching out my left side, and then breathing into that rib. Ugh. I don't really move in that way when I'm sitting, like working.
Like the side bending.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of when I would take dance lessons, and this was something that we would stretch a whole bunch in dance.
Oh, what kind of dance?
I've done a whole lot of different kinds of dance when I was younger. I've done ballet, jazz, tap. And then through college, as you know, Filipino folk dancing, which was so fun and so just rewarding and expressive.
Mm-hmm.
I miss dancing.
Oh yeah, dancing is life. Like even when birds mate, they dance. Have you seen that on Netflix or just in general, like nature documentaries, where like these male birds are super colorful and then they do their mating dances?
Yes, I have
So
seen
funny.
that. It's so interesting that you say that. That's cool. And I guess humans do that too when they, when this was a thing before. I know definitely in like college where we would just dance at the bar, and not to say that we were going to go and mate, but like it was a thing to express sexuality.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I really choreographed that though. Like there like I had two guys fighting over one girl, and then one of them won. And then they held up a blanket, and then I this is really into dance. Like they held up a blanket, and then the drum beat, like, okay, you can probably guess. Like
That's amazing. Hey, it's true to what the storyline holds, right?
yeah, that the female gets to pick.
Mm-hmm. Talk about women empowerment and choice. Mm-hmm.
It's just natural order of things.
Well, and in our Filipino culture, prior to colonization, women really did run the society.
Mm-hmm. In most pre-colonial designs. I believe it was that like that. But yeah.
Well, we're living into it right here and right now in our own bodies, in our own society, and we're going to talk about all that today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling here.
Me too. That felt good.
Yeah, good call.
Definitely. It's such a gift to be able to be aware and be within our bodies. And, I guess since we've known each other for a good amount of time, over 10 years, as most of our listeners who have listened to us in the past know, why don't we talk a little bit about how we relate to our bodies back in that time 10 years ago? So I guess I was just about wrapping up my first year or in the middle of my first year of college, I think 10 years ago, first or second. So a baby, like we were babies.
Yeah.
How might you describe your relationship to your body back then in comparison to your relationship to your body now? Because I know for a fact mine is completely different, but I'd love to chat with you about that.
Yeah, wow, what a good question. I'm thinking, did I have a relationship with my I mean, I'm sure I did. Everyone has one, whether they acknowledge it or not, but that's really how it felt like probably then, where my body felt like something that was just there. Like I didn't care for it. It's just it was just it was just there. It just I don't know. It I now thinking back on it, it might have been an internalized objectification where my body was just a thing. It wasn't like a living, breathing friend like it is now. It was just a thing, like a and I mean, in college and more so in my early 20s, it was a thing that was ooh, hard to say, but we're getting deep real quick. It was a thing that was like bartered for power, like in a way, like I objectified myself, like thinking, oh, they will like me, or this thing will work out better if I sexualize myself, or like things like that. Like that is not right. I know that's not right, but that's how oppression works when the people who are oppressed perpetuate it. And yeah, that internalized patriarchy ran deep. That sexism ran deep. I didn't know any other way other than to just treat it like a thing that existed for the male gaze. Like,
so it's interesting when you say like this thing, right? I almost picture like, how we go into stores and we shop and something like Ross or like TJ Maxx where there's all these outfits and different tops and bottoms that are like just on the rack. And like, I almost picture like our body as this outfit that we just like happened to pick out and was put on. And that was that. Like, and we looked in the mirror and we're like, oh, at least for myself, like it was like I couldn't make sense of like, do I like this thing?
oh wow.
This thing is changing, but like, is this changing in a good way? Like, I was always so conflicted with the thing that I saw, and I can relate as well to this idea of like continually trying to change it for the purpose of people pleasing.
whether that be for a male or my female circle, or just my perception of what would be accepted, or even like this thing that looked so young. Like I think that was one of the biggest challenges, even in college, like 10 years ago, being this quote unquote adult in a place where we're gaining this independence, we're finding out who we are, we're learning about our desires and sexuality, maybe in a relationship or maybe not, maybe dating. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, but I look 12. Like, I was just the most like, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I can relate on some levels. But it was a very confusing and just conflicted time for me with my body.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's real. It's so relatable. And I'm just thinking about the 12-year-olds now. They don't look 12. Like,
I
that's crazy.
know. I know. I used to teach 12-year-olds, and I swear sometimes sitting in parent teacher conferences, I'm like, who is the adult in here? Because if I weren't wearing this dress and blazer, I swear my student could be the teacher in this room. She is so mature looking.
Yeah. Wow. So it's so wild how like appearances just they make such an impact on how one sees themselves, like internally. It can be either confusing or it could be like in line. I'm just thinking about, our trans brothers and sisters, like who just like grow up in this like gendered body that doesn't fit with their spirit. Like, what? That's wild. And
Yeah,
I respect, yeah. So when you were talking about like that dysmorphia, that's kind of what I was also like thinking about too.
absolutely. I think that conflict and confusion across ages, across genders, across so many different arenas is something that maybe a lot of people don't talk about when they are 18, 19, 20 years old, and sometimes not even at our age, but I think it's evolved as far as how I see my body now and how much more awareness I have about it because of my sense of identity of who I am and my own values and what's important in my life and how that connects to my body.
That's so healthy. That sounds so healthy.
Oh my gosh. And by the way, I didn't mean to skip over, 10 years of time. There was definitely, you can listen to my previous podcasts about my 15-year relationship with food. And I know we've had many conversations either in Real Talk Mondays or just between us two as friends and talking about our journey through nutrition, through fitness, and through your body image. But it definitely didn't happen like, with a snap of a finger, but it has evolved immensely just because of my identity, which drives it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Uh, you know, I'm really glad that we're having this conversation to document the growth, to reflect back on things, to just relate to ourselves now. It's amazing to see how things have grown. And I have to admit I did skip over something. Um I hypersexualized my body after graduation because that's when I lost 50 pounds. Like, did all that in California. But in college, I hated my body. Like, it was a burden. It was a punishment to see my body, to like lug it around. It felt so heavy, and I embraced it, but in a very like, how do I say? It was self-deprecating in a way, where I would just eat like, because you know how it is in college, everyone eats at like 2 a.m. and
Oh my
it's
gosh,
shit.
yeah.
And and I would
And
just
it
eat
was like several times a week.
several times a week. I just remember rolling around the floor in my apartment one time with my roommates because we ate so much pho. Like the scoop was just so much, it hurt. And we didn't stop. I don't know why we just didn't stop. But we just ate and ate and ate to like deal with stress, I guess. And it was it did not line up with my goals or my mission, or I didn't even realize that could even happen. But that's so not the case now. It's so different. My orientation to how you were talking about how like your body and your goals lining up, like, oh, there's so much there.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I think that story on both, you know, both ends of that, as far as the the emotional and stress ties to eating and the feelings that you had around your presence in your body, and then that transition into weight loss and becoming hypersexual is all very personal, and I think takes a lot of courage to be able to talk about that and own that as a part of your story. So thank you for sharing that. I think that I got chills through what you were sharing. It felt so real that you lived through that, and that is the part of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, talking about it helps to integrate it. And now I'm sexy in all my roles. Like I put both of the polar opposites together now. I don't care. I mean, I do. I really care a lot, but like in a much better way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for the most part, it's much easier to understand what feels good to our body, and eating to the point of hurting so much probably doesn't. And I've done that before as well, like without even really conscious thought to it, but just knowing us and knowing what we've talked about through our friendship, now in the present day, we're so much more capable of being able to communicate what feels good to us. And I wonder what that means to you. What does it mean to you to really feel good? Whether that's physical or mental, emotional, spiritual, sensual, or sexual. And how do we express that without feeling shame around
Oh my gosh. That's a rich and loaded question.
it? Well, we could start with the first part then. Like, what does it
Okay.
mean to you to feel good as a woman, someone who identifies as a woman, or just in general? What are your thoughts on what that means?
At this point, what I welcome into my life is like if it makes me laugh, if it inspires me and makes me feel light, if it gives me an orgasm, if it feels like I'm growing and expanding my mind, um, or my bank account, then I'm happy, and that's what makes it feel good. That's what feels good, and those are the things that I'm declaring and welcoming in without shame.
Amazing. I love that you tie in so many aspects of our life, like legitimately, our personal lives, our growth and development as people and as career women, as human and sexual beings, and just people who also want to live a good life. Because what's the point in leading what 80, 100 years of being down in the dumps, right? Like that's no fun.
No, that's not what we were put on this earth for. No. We're here to play and like have a lot of sex. Like this is really what it is, right? Like evolution. Like, come on, let's make it simple.
We are animals at the root of it all.
Like, let's keep it real simple.
We're animals that have desires, but also emotions. So why did it have to be so complicated? Just kidding.
It doesn't have to be.
No, not
really
at all.
doesn't.
And I think this has been a tough year for many people. Obviously, we're in the midst of a global pandemic. There's been a lot of trials and tests and even losses, unfortunately, for people in many facets of life. But I think there were also many opportunities for people to turn back inward and like look into what are the simple things that bring us this joy and bring us humility and feel good feels like within our own self. And all of these things that you mentioned, laughing, growing and learning, being inspired, being able to have orgasms and fill your bank account are all things we are capable of both with ourselves and with other people. So if that does involve, like, first and foremost, ourselves, which everyone and anyone can talk about themselves any time of day, and it involves people around us, loved ones, colleagues, like as far as our career goes, or our friends who make us laugh, then why can it be so difficult to like say like, man, I just want a good laugh, or oh, I want to have more money? Like, why? Even sometimes saying it now, even through all of the practice and mindset shifts that we've had, it still can be difficult.
I think it has to do with safety and feeling safe to be that open and that receptive and that visible and that vulnerable.
Wow.
Well, how does this relate to your life?
I'm thinking, I'm trying to visualize each of these, and I'm relating it to what I think our society sort of molds us to be, which is in the United States, highly individualistic. And I think that closes us off from expressing when we need something or want something or are seeking the help from others to get us what we need or what we want. And that translates into when it makes it difficult to talk about what we want, whether that's with our money or with our sexual experiences.
Okay. I'm called to have a really creative, constructive conversation with you right now. And like, I would love to walk away from this time together knowing a bit more about how we can achieve all those things: more laughs, more orgasms, more bank, like more all that stuff. Like, and if the blocks, if the hurdles that we are overcoming have to do with like deprogramming this sense of separateness, that and instilling safety in an interdependent like community where we can lean on each other or be seen by each other, all that stuff. Like, I want to have some actionable steps or like some like real concrete boundaries, or I don't want to say demands, but just like, what do I need? Like, this is what I need in order to get that. Like, this is what I need.
I think
So,
that's actually step one, right? Like actually
okay.
identifying, because you listed out the things that you know bring you joy and make you feel good, and like that you may perhaps desire. And I'll while I do agree with pretty much your whole entire list, I am sure everyone has different desires or even different words for what that means to them. And so that's probably step one, is kind of just identifying what are those desires, and that it's not, and like welcoming that in with a sense of understanding that it's not selfish, but just a
Mhm.
means to enjoy life better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Pick an arena, Cheryl. Let's figure this out. It's like a video game. Like, pick your arena, pick your character. Like, let's go.
Huh. I feel like either the topics of money or sexual experience or expression would be the most juicy and interesting for us to talk about, and for our listeners to get some of the residual from it.
Yeah, I feel the same. So, either one. How do we do this?
All right, so it's either money baby or let's talk about sex baby.
Yeah. Gonna flip a coin or something? Or like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know, let's just go talk, let's talk since this is, I think both are arenas of that we could discover women empowerment within, but because I think it's more taboo and not talked about as much, let's talk about sex.
We're here for it.
And we were talking about our bodies, and we're moving them, and we're into them, and we're here, and we also trust each other and have amazing conversations, so I'm here for it.
Okay, I am too. So, what gets you in the mood?
Oh, okay.
I
Let's
love this.
see. I think, and I've talked about this with you when we had our last virtual date night / celebratory night, and we had a drink, but it's really less about, now it is in this time and day, it's really less about what my partner, because he's the person I share sexual experiences with, and he knows I'm having this conversation with you. It's less about what he actually does or how he is appearing or how he is treating me, and more so like almost how I am preparing myself for getting into the mood. So this might be like wearing something in particular, like an outfit that I feel sexy in, or even like lingerie that I feel sexy in under the outfit that I'm wearing. And just feeling good in that. And even like, you know, kind of like, well, for one, we both work from home, so we kind of just see each other all the time. And I'm not putting on makeup and doing my hair and doing all the things that I like love to do and think are fun and make me feel sexy. So that's what I would like to do to get into the mood, is like prepare myself to get in the mood. And then secondary is, I think, like music is a huge thing for me. Like even just, I've shared with you and with our conscious living cohort group that I have a baby making playlist, and I don't have intentions right now of making a baby, but I think we can imply what that playlist is for. And whether I'm doing like yoga to it or just like listening to it throughout the day, which eventually puts me in some type of feel or mood, then that music is part of that experience, which I think is connected to, again, my body and the way that it moves, and also lyrics. Like, I'm a big words person. I enjoy like some really great poetry, but in the form of a song, usually in a baby making song.
Nice.
So those are things that kind of put me in the mood. And then I think other things can add to that, like, the senses around me. So the lighting of how I would have my office is not necessarily going to put me in the mood the same way that a dimmed lighting for where I might be in the mood for a sexual experience or desire is a little bit dimmer. And even like having soft sheets, as opposed to, I don't know, like a banig. I don't think I would be in the mood if I had a banig in the middle of the park.
Getting freaky on a banig, yo.
I understand things happen sometimes. I'm not gonna say that that's gonna put me in the mood.
If it happens, it happens.
True. But you asked me what would put me in the mood, so I think it's just a combination of, when I zoom out, it's really all my senses. Now that I think about it, it's something about the way I'm preparing myself and my own appearance of myself, not how my partner sees me or not how I see him. I see myself, something I'm listening to or kind of inputting, and the way that I'm moving my body, and also just like sensations of softness and yeah, that safety around me, that it's like it's safe and it feels good already. Like, and we haven't even done anything yet.
Wow. That's awesome.
How
I keep
about
thinking about the
you?
banig. Sorry.
I'm like, so I'm sitting on this chair, and it's an ergonomic chair, and I have this foam roller at my feet because my feet don't reach the ground fully, of course. But I was like, yeah, I'm not going to incorporate the foam roller into this conversation. What's another thing that has a texture that's not ideal? Because, anything can happen. Foam roller, banig, whatever floats your boat. But I'm just saying, if I were to choose, soft sheets, and I guess preferably white. I don't know why. I guess it reminds me of like cleanness and like, I don't know. I think like just that light feeling and bright. I don't know. So, there's me.
That's cute. I love it.
It's cute, but kind of ironic, because I could picture myself wearing something like a little black dress and like some nice lingerie, but like on this like cute soft white bed.
The contrast is so intriguing.
Yeah, how about you?
The foam roller will do it for me.
It's a massage feeling. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, foreplay's big. And it starts with it starts even before the massage, but massage is an essential part. I'm gonna just put it out there. Like, yes, know how to handle me if you can handle me. Like, that is the whole game here. Because I can handle myself. So like, I'm opening up an invitation. So that's like, dang, let's start from the basics here. Like, I imagine having sex all day, except not like freaky like that all day, but I mean like from the minute we see each other, it's a flirtatious dance. Like, it's foreplay already. It's like the way that you brush up against me in the kitchen. That's foreplay already. Like the way that like you reach over for something and like you are about to kiss me, but like not yet, but like you like the energy and the tension is there, like that's already setting it up. I love that. It's an art. It's an art.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Um cook me something. There's always That's always going to do something because of the senses, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, all the colors, the textures, the smells. Let's
And even like the anticipation, right? Like you have the senses of smelling the food and seeing it before you even taste it. No puns
Yes.
intended. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
jump in. I just want to make a really quick interruption if that's okay, because I
Oh,
think this
good.
is
This is part of
so
it.
interesting, because the way that I was like kind of describing what put me in the mood now, as opposed to when my partner and I first started dating and eventually started getting into sex with each other, really actually aligns a lot with what you're saying. And it's interesting because we're in different places with as far as like our desires and sexual experiences, where like you're describing a very like, you know, it's it's so genuine and real, and it was genuine, real, and it still is for me, but like it's almost like in a long-term span it does sort of become this like ooh special occasion fantasy type of thing. But in reality it's a lot of what you're talking about on the day-to-day, or like, you know, on the more like just real level. And that's, I love it. It's, they're both ways to get in the mood for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to make me laugh. It's easy to make me laugh though. Well, I mean, if it's smart. Like if it's smart.
Mhm.
But yeah, my brain has to be turned on too.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's big. But I hear you. I feel you on the everyday kind of thing. Like goals would be being 80 years old and my granny booty is still getting rubbed up against. Like it's still, like on the daily. Like that's just what it is. Cool.
Oh yeah, we deserve it. We deserve all
Yeah.
that love and affection and physical touch and cuddling and booty rubbing.
Yeah.
We're
It's
gonna have
so
some
good.
big granny booties, by the way.
Sure, yeah. For sure. All them squats.
Whatever
And
that might
pinch.
manifest it to, but down for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you are more physically active, your libido increases, and like you just again feel more into your body, and like this is me, like this is what I live into each day, this is what I wake up into each day, this is what I celebrate each day. And you know, that's not where everyone might be, but oftentimes when you are in a practice of honoring your body, caring for it, just like you would care for a child or care for your freaking $1,000 iPhone or something, like you care for your body, so it deserves that love and tenderness and feel good feels for life.
Mhm. Mhm. I've 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 learned that the more I take care of my body, the more I can feel good. The range and the depth and the nuance and the flavors of feeling good are are like there are more colors to work with. Like when when I'm taking care of my body, which
Oh hell yeah.
yeah, it shifts and varies and is different every time, but yeah, it's cool, and it's just about getting started. And I'll be honest, like with me, it's like once I'm in the zone and I'm in the momentum, like it's on forever. But it takes a minute. It takes a minute for me to trust.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It takes a minute for me to trust. Um, yeah, like others and
Mhm.
even myself sometimes, like with my body and my pleasure. So it helps when I take it slow and like focus on the little things, like really really little things, like energy, like self massage, gentle touch, like starting off or like wearing a fabric that feels good just
Mm.
on the skin, like things like that. Um, getting in a sauna or steaming or like, yeah.
Do you ever I definitely do this a lot ever especially now that I've moved out of my parents' house again, but do you perhaps have you before like I don't know why this is so comforting to me, but like after I shower and I had nothing to do afterwards, sometimes I'll literally just lay on my bed in my towel for like an hour.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I don't have a robe in my place right now, so the towel will do. It's like I don't necessarily want to put clothes on. I don't want to be unclothed. So I'm just gonna wear this towel and lay in this soft bed, which is feels good. And then, that might just put me in the mood too. It doesn't have to be all dressed up and get fancy and feel all the feels and make it special like that. That just feels good to lay in my towel and be me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I feel you. Those are the best. Those moments where we're just feeling ourselves. Just like feeling ourselves.
Now, I almost want to kind of flip the switch a little bit and contrast this to maybe having an out of body experience in a way. Like, I think, just with my experiences having body dysmorphia for so long, it wasn't until the past couple of years when I really started to focus on exercise and training specifically, not just exercise as a means to be skinny or fit or exercise as a means to burn calories, but training for like improvement and training for mental toughness and resilience and training for just being a badass in life. Like it wasn't really until I spent time doing that that I felt most connected to my body and mind together.
Mm.
And thinking back to like again, either in college or even in high school, I've always been an athlete. I've been a dancer, and at the same time, like when you were talking about the senses and all the colors and things that you can express yourself when you are in your body and experiencing it, like it feels like I don't know, like I feel like disconnected from that part of my life because it just feels so gray in a way as far as like the experiences I had. Like I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I don't even like mean to get like all woo about like I don't know if like I really lived into my body at that time and I was like physically or like as present as I am now. And I don't necessarily know if I've ever had like a quote unquote awakening. It was just kind of like just this growth of like, okay, damn, this is a body that I can recognize, and this is me. Like, this is what I've trained and become, and this is what I'm embracing now. So have you had that similar feeling of like not being in your body, just like removed from it?
Oh yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. That's not woo woo. I mean, but like you're talking to me, so I mean
I just don't even know if that made sense, but I was trying to communicate like just how different it was then and now that I realize how connected I actually am, and how like, yeah, how like present I am in this body, which was the same body. Like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Um I definitely have felt that, and I'm coming into myself more and more. I I feel like, yeah, when I experienced when I experienced sexual assault in 2013, the thing that saved my life was yoga. Like, I went to yoga every day for I don't even know how long, but like I just went every day. And there were some days I would just be on the mat in child's pose crying, and no one can see because your forehead's on the mat. Like, there's that. But like there were other times where I'd be moving my body and I'm like, that's my arm. Or like, that's my leg, but I can see it moving, but am I moving it? Like, is that,
Mm,
oh, okay. But that's normal of trauma, to be fragmented, like
mm,
from the body experience. It's like maybe it's too painful to be present or something like that, or dissociating. That's what I
mm,
saw it. But like the more I just stayed with the practice of moving my body, um the more I trusted it, and it was it was healing. It was like, okay, I accept this. This is who I am now. Um and it felt good. Like after like a while, I really started owning my body. And then in 2017 I went through an illness which took my movement away again. I had to be really still, and I'm glad for that because um I got to grow my meditation practice and grow my awareness of subtle bodies, like the energy bodies, like more. I really got in touch with my, this sounds weird, but like my internal organs,
mhm.
like instead of the gross motor functions, like I really got in touch with like very subtle like parts of my body because I had to freaking sit still for 5 hours a day, and that's the story
Wow.
for another time. Like
Wow.
like that's for another time. But yeah, now that I'm on this side of it, I'm like integrating, and all of that was traumatic, but it's taught me lessons, and my job now is to just put all the lessons together, like in terms of put my awareness, my gross motor function awareness, my subtle body awareness, my like proprioception, like body and space, my interoception, my like what do I feel from the inside out? Like I'm putting all of that together, but it's still like, like a baby learning how to walk kind of thing. Like, oh, I got to put all these things together now,
Mm.
coordinate. Um, that's where
That's
I'm at.
fair.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. But like, I
Wow.
have all the raw skills. I just have to put
What
them all
a
together.
transformation. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for sharing such a vulnerable part of your story. And possibly relatable to some people. Um, it's really inspiring to see you on this side and to see you leading your life with so much joy. And I am here to celebrate the fact that you're here for feeling good and being deserving and taking up the space and moving and feeling and wanting more for yourself after this. And it didn't have to take that for you to do this, but I can understand how that desire may be heightened now after some of this trauma. And unfortunately that can be the story of many people, but everyone's deserving of feeling good and living a joyful life and with less pain and with less suffering. So for you to share this and to see you on this side is very moving and real.
Thank you. It's been so great to have you by my side while I'm navigating this, because it's not perfect. It's not at all, polished. But like, that's why I called you the first week I landed back into Chicago. Like, I called you. I'm like, okay, I'm calling her. Like, this is.
I love that. I am so blessed and humbled and honored that you reached out to connect back with me, because if you didn't, it probably would have been months before I knew you were even back. And yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way, because our friendship has grown and we've watered it so much and it's just flourishing. And for us to be able to have this conversation even, and for, parts of it were harder to talk about than others, but it was just like girl talk, and be that way for more of us. Whether you identify as a woman or a man or any other identification, like, we can talk about this stuff, our bodies, our feels, our desires, without the guilt and the shame, or without the fear of risking our safety or our worth.
It's to celebrate our safety and our worth and the bodies that we've gotten. Like, it's heightened my gratitude because it's been taken away from me several times. And I'm a stubborn person. I guess the universe needed to teach me like a few times, because I have also been hospitalized from overworking myself and disrespecting my body that way too. Like, there's been a lot that I've learned the hard way, and I don't need to take the class again. Like, I'm ready to ace the test. Like, I'm ready to just be here and enjoy this luscious thing and like do it. Just do that. Like, I'm here for that. So,
and all the flavors that come with it.
yeah,
it's gonna be delicious.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations you could have.
Oh, I'm excited for these. I think there's so many stories that we get to share, and it's really just, the beginning of so many more amazing conversations and abilities to connect with each other and with others if we end up deciding to go public with this and where it goes.
Yay.
Thank you for doing this with me tonight. Another Friday night date.
How lucky me, honestly.
Same.